What's happening, folks? Back with another reaction, back with some more solo Morten Harket, and we're going back to his 2008 English language album Letter from Egypt, and we're up to the tune There Are Many Ways to Die. It's a very stark, if not dire, title, and yet I feel like you could go a number of different ways with it. In one sense, by suggesting a spectrum or range of deaths, you're saying there could be deaths that are exceedingly tragic, unfair, people taken too soon, or innocent people that end up getting bound up in these larger forces of violence and death and so on. There could be deaths that, although unfortunate, given all the considerations and circumstances at hand, perhaps they are more appropriate or at least more understandable, and one could perhaps come to terms with them better than that first category. And then perhaps there's a range of deaths that, despite being sad or painful in many ways, could be seen as noble or something that those who survived the decease could be proud of, that maybe they put themselves in harm's way for the benefit of many others, not just one other person but maybe many other people, and therefore their death, however unfortunate, would be seen as a very noble and positive thing in what it did for others, and that someone had the willingness to put themselves in harm's way in that fashion. But again, it might not be just suggesting that there are different kinds of deaths. It could be about a specific narrative in which someone dies in a fashion that perhaps has certain characteristics which are distinguished from what they expected when their time would come, or so on. So I feel like there's a number of different ways you could go with it, but certainly the general essence of the tune is that there are people around the world who die in different ways, maybe sometimes more appropriate, sometimes more unjust or unfair, but that you as a living person will eventually have to go to the end of that trajectory, and hopefully when it comes to that, you'll be on maybe the more accepting and understanding side of the spectrum, we can all hope. So yeah, it's a really interesting title, one that has a bit of gravity and a bit of grave to it, but also one that perhaps suggests something profound and powerful and inspiring. So let's find out. This is Morten Harket. The tune is There Are Many Ways to Die, and it's from his 2008 album Letter from Egypt. Almost theremin layer in there. The strings always sounded nice.
Night across the harbor, night light in the sky. I hear the sound of water, boats are drifting by. I've been waiting here for centuries, I've lost my sense of time. My love, you should have warned me. There are many ways to die.
Ooh. That swooshing effect.
There are many ways to die.
Almost like a bird, like a seabird sound.
I'm deep inside this world now. Could I take a step aside? I'm deeper than I ever was. I may have crossed the line. She just stood there in my way. I see her all the time. My love, you could have told me. There are many ways to die.
These sweeping sonic layers of different kinds.
She cut the moon.
Tidal, perhaps?
There are many ways to die.
And it is very theremin-esque. Has that ghostly sort of quality.
This wind is
I do like the
blowing
keys
through me.
too.
It is nothing I can fight. I may lose her.
And the strings are like,
Tonight
hey,
she's by my side.
remember who's the star,
Her
right?
head upon my shoulder.
It's like, yeah, Morten's
An
voice.
angel speak with mine. She was sent me to remind me there are many ways to die.
I don't quite know everything that's happening here, but
There are many
I'm intrigued by a
ways to
number of the
die.
lines, especially the one that have been around here for centuries, which would seem to take it into a realm beyond that of regular human existence. But perhaps it's a metaphor, perhaps it's representative of feeling more than actual time.
Many ways to die.
But again, I feel like maybe knowing what I do about his music, there's a religious or supernatural element to this. Such a pleasing tune. It just feels so good. But it's funny because there's these deep rumbles of bass beneath all these soaring, sweeping, beautiful melodic layers. Which again, so that the ocean underneath, hearing the waves and so on. I feel like there's some sonic layers where I'm not sure if, I'm extrapolating a little too far, but it does feel like the scene being set, sitting by a coastline and seeing the ships and the waves and so on. It feels like there were a number of layers that fit into that sonically. And again, not quite sure what's going on thematically. A few of the lines were very intriguing, and it does feel like on some level it is saying that there are perhaps more noble ways to go about things and perhaps to die, but I didn't catch enough to really piece it all together. So thematically, I'll look forward to what people say, and again, I will continue to listen as I always do, successive listens in headphones. But yeah, ultimately another cool tune from Morten. Again, there's so many cool layers in there, but as sort of that conversation, if you will, played out in my head, I feel like that's, oh man, the keys are great, and those sweeping kind of synth layers, I love those too. And ultimately I love the theremin type of sound, and then the strings come in and it's like, hey, who's the star? It's like, wait, no, actually we all know who the star is, and it's Morten's voice. So big ups to Morten, but also fantastic production on that one. I really enjoyed it. It was a very warm and inviting song that did feel on some level like sitting by the sea and watching things in an environment that feels in a way like you're on the border between two very different spaces, but also in a very enjoyable scene to be set. So yeah, I enjoyed that one a lot. Yeah, I'll probably keep jumping back and forth between the English language album and the albums plural, because just in this folder for the 2000s English language albums, there's 2 more albums after this. I believe there's another Norwegian album that is from the 90s that I haven't even gone through yet. So bottom line, there's a lot more solo Morten to go through, both in English and Norwegian. So hopefully people are here for it. It does seem like a number of AHA fans are down for this as well. So big ups to all of you. And yeah, Luca and I will see you next time. Peace.